Talk about something we're all a little guilty of, I think, and especially my generation. I'm gonna call it. We're gonna call it soft parenting. You know, when I grew up, I got beat on a regular basis, and hard work was nothing that was not available. um, we had chores, we had things to do. You know, we didn't have computer games, we didn't have cell phones, and the phone in the house. When we talked on it to our friends, we got monitored by our parents. Sitting down at the dinner table, you know, you had to sit there and you ate what was put on your table, on the plate. And now, granted, okay, I'm not complaining about my childhood or anything. And what I'm saying in today's childhood, uh, I can't say just my kids, but in general, everybody's kids today, we've raised them to be soft parents. I'm not saying that you should hit your kid or beat your kid because I don't think that's right. I had one goal in my life, and that was to not hit my kid. You know, I may have swore a little too much, or maybe I got pissed off about things, but I spoke my mind freely about what I thought, and maybe that was right, maybe it was wrong. I don't know, you know. But I can tell you one thing: this generation that we have raised, this soft generation of being parents, is way, 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 way different than the way I was raised, or you know, my kids were raised. You had to be careful about what you said. You know, if you were fat, overweight, anything like that, retarded, you couldn't use all those. I did anyway. It's a fact of life. You're going to run into people like that in the real world. There's no point in hiding any of these things. It's just, you hide things from kids and the kids find out their own way, you know. And this soft parenting is what I call it. I don't know what anybody else would want to call it. They stick them behind a computer today, let them play with the laptops for hours on end, play games with their friends on the internet. It's a big thing. I think it's a big problem too. It's just my opinion, okay? Everybody's got an opinion. It's just like assholes, and I've been told that several times. But those people that use those excuses for their reasoning, they don't have any logic. They don't have any foundation, okay? You know, you throw it all out the window and you got nothing left, you know? It's like you break the law, you get a ticket. You come into this country illegally, you get deported. It's just as simple as that, people, okay? And, you know, there's a lot of problems with the government and all these things. Yeah, we know all about it. I think lobbyists are a big problem because a lot of lobbyists get paid a lot of money to go and promote things that maybe they aren't even really supportive of, but the money's good. So where's your foundation? Your foundations just get washed away little by little each day. And what this comes down to is that the generation that follows us, my generation, the generation that follows us, they got different music, different language. You know, yeah, we had things, you know, yeah, man, that's cool, far out, you know, okay, but we didn't have these different kinds of music that, you know, talked about all these things. But anyway, you're getting a little bit off the soft parent deal here. What I want to talk about basically is watching kids blow up, and then the parents wait for hours when everybody's gone to have a conversation with them about what they did wrong. I call that soft parenting. Um, you know, a couple hours later, it makes absolutely no sense to the kid at all. The kid's not interested in listening to you an hour later, 2 hours later, whenever you get around to it. I'm not saying that you should grab the kid and smack him around. I'm not saying that at all. But if you're playing a game with a child and the child seems to be in control of what's going on, that's not how it goes. The child is a child, and you are the adult, you are the parent, you are the one that is in control. And you're supposed to be in control. And child blows up playing a game, all right? Sending them to their bedroom, probably not a good idea, because you just sent them to the fucking toy box of the house. They got all kinds of things in there they can do. Not going to make any difference to them at all. The punishment is just a soft punishment, okay? But what I do think is that I think that instead of participating in the game that you're playing with everybody, I think that a really good solution would be to take the game away from that child, that kid, and let them sit there and watch everybody play, everybody interact, everybody joke, everybody lose, everybody wins, okay? Child today, kids, everything is about winning. And it's the same thing with these computer games. You gotta beat them, you gotta beat them, you gotta beat them, you gotta get better, you gotta get better, you gotta get better. And for what? There's absolutely no point and no victory in playing a computer game. There is nothing learned, there is no value learned. All you've been taught as a child watching these video games is to destroy things. Destroy things, and you may get a little bit of I didn't win. And most of the kids that I see that don't win get very upset, very pissed off, and they get these anger issues that nobody really sees coming on, okay? Now you keep instilling this value in these kids that they got to play these games, they got to win, and you tell them, I mean, just for instance, okay, I was at this mall where there's these video games, okay? I sat in the parking lot and I watched the kids going into this place, and they were yanking their parents' arms, they were hitting them, kicking them, biting them, scratching them, yelling at them, screaming at them. These are the kids doing this to the parent. Parent finally just, okay, all right, fine, let them go. Somebody's going to see me holding on to my kid and think I'm a bad parent. Ooh, wow, look at that. Somebody's going to think I'm a bad parent. I got a big bird just flew over me here. I mean, a huge one. So anyway, these parents let go of the kids, and you know, these kids dart out in front of cars. They get inside there and they're playing these games, and I watched this one father instructing his 7-8-year-old kid how to play these games. And it was a kid it was a motorcycle, and he was telling his kid that he had to hit these signs, you had to run them over, you had to smash this, smash that, run over this, run over that, and you get points for doing these things. Now, in my day, okay, if you hit things, smash things, ruin things, you learn that you just lost. But instead, we're teaching these children to destroy things, ruin things with no value. The value of the whole game is to destroy and ruin. Where in my days, if you destroyed everything you had around you, you had nothing left. I had to work hard to get all these things that I got. And this kind of value is what these kids are getting out of these computer games. Now, we just had another shooting in Texas, and it was pretty clear that this kid was a big nerd, computer game, kind of kept to himself a lot. And that's another thing, you know, I went to this mall and they had a lot of good things in there. They had like things that you could climb on, test your skills at rope climbing, rock climbing, getting in a suit and, you know, soaring over people. You know, it's kind of like a balance thing, you know, and it's kind of like they're sort of gymnastic things, but there's no gym teacher there. There's nobody coaching you on except your kid, your parents. And these kids were all lined up in order to do this, but yet there's not a lot of communication between these kids because there's a barrier there, because their social skills are limited to the computer, which is their whole life, because these kids in the city, that's all they see. I'm out here in the woods. This is where I've been all my life, is in the woods. I've been around horses. I've been around dairy farms. I learned the true meaning of life and death. It may have been an animal that I didn't want to see get killed, but it taught me a very valuable lesson that, you know, it is something, animals and people are something you need to take care of and you need to protect and you need to keep harm from coming to them, not destroy them. I mean, we got cops on TV now, the TV show, Bad Boys, you know, I'm not knocking it. And it's reality. People watch these things and, you know, they take this, the takeaway is that the bad guy did it and got away with it. And did it and got away with it and fought the law, and it makes people have a bad taste in their mouth about law and order. Okay? Again, we're kind of getting off the track here with kids today, playing games and temper tantrums. You know, well, yeah, okay, well, maybe your kid has, you know, a disability or something, but hiding, I mean, soft parenting that kid is only going to lead to, I believe, a little bit bigger of an out of control problem. You know, I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a very smart person at all. You ask any of my kids, they'll tell you I'm probably dumber than a box of rocks. Okay? Common sense, people, is what I work with. Common sense. You destroy it, you just taught yourself that you could destroy something. If you build something and respect that, then you have something of value. It's in here. It's in your heart. It's in your mind that what you just learned was a good value. When you go and destroy things, play these games, and isolate kids into these rooms, you get people like this guy that just shot into the ICE vans in Texas. Now, obviously, you know, maybe it was a good shot, maybe it was a bad shot. Maybe his intentions were to kill some innocent people that were being deported, okay? These people are innocent. They came to this country, and maybe they're innocent, maybe they're not, maybe they're criminals. But if you're in this country illegally, you need to leave, okay? You need to be deported. That's bottom line. Simple as that. It's American justice. It's red, white, and blue, okay? This guy sent such a scribbled message to America that honestly, he played games, video games. I don't know what he played, but he played them constantly. He was a nerd. And he sent out such a message to the United States people that was so confusing that why would you kill immigrants if you were against ISIS? What was the point of killing the immigrants if you were against ISIS? It's a very confusing message. And this message that you're learning off of these computer games is a confusing message. Let's just touch on this for a second, okay? In my house, when I grew up, my parents, we had a garden. We had to go out and weed it. We had to pull the vegetables. We had to plant the vegetables. We had to take care of that garden. We got something out of that garden that we all ate. Now, granted, it was things in that garden that I refused to eat. But you know what my parents did? My parents would not allow me to leave that kitchen table till I ate almost everything on that plate. Maybe I didn't eat everything, but I had to try and eat the things I did not like. I had to try. Now, those values, to me, looking back, I was a kid, and the kid is not in control. My parents were in control. My parents were instilling values in me, values that I would learn to live with and grow with as I got older. I'm 70 years old now. Yeah, I'm a little bit overweight now because I don't have the activity that I used to have. But when I was younger, I was 140, 50 pounds soaking wet all my life. And according to my doctor, he says, I don't know what you're doing, but you are of perfect health. You got good vitals, good statistics. Well, maybe it's because my parents made me sit at the table and eat junk that I didn't like. And today, I still don't eat some of those things. Lima beans, I can't stand lima beans. But that's just one vegetable. But everything else, I eat today. I love my vegetables. I love my fruits. And I don't eat a lot of different kinds of meats and different things. I don't eat exotic foods. I eat, wild-caught fish. I mean, if you call that exotic, I don't know, wild fish. I like hamburgers. I like a little bit of chicken. I like hot dogs, That's what I like to eat. But I eat a lot of fruit and vegetables, and I try to stay healthy, Now, soft parenting today, the kid is given a meal that the parent knows today the kid will eat. Spaghetti, pizza, shit out of a can. Crap food's got all kinds of preservatives in it. Nothing in there that's really of any good for your body, especially a growing child's body. If you're going to have kids, you got to take on the responsibility of feeding them right and investing your time into finding the right things that your kid's going to eat. And they're not going to eat all of what you put on their plate, but the point is that you've got to make the decision that they're going to try these different foods, okay? It's just like playing the games with people. If the kid is going to be disruptive and have a temper tantrum, throw a fit, you can use the kid labels that the kid has got ADD, dyslexic, bipolar, he's got mental issues. You can use all those labels all day long, and you're not doing that kid any good. And if you take away triggers that are going to trigger that child, you're only sheltering that kid. You're only softening that child's reality of, well, you just lost. There's no other explanation for it. these games that they try to play and win are diluting these children's minds today. And that's the big takeaway. The values of everything is so diluted. Today, you can't get your kids to, I mean, some kids even live with their parents. I mean, how does that work? You know, adults living with their parents. Okay, well, so be it. You know, but maybe you can get those kids to help you do things. But I know that a lot of kids, you gotta make an appointment with them to come and see them. You gotta make an appointment with them to come over and help you do something. And even if you ask them to come over and help you do something, they ain't gonna like doing it because they don't have to do it, because they've never had to do it, because we, our generation, set ourselves up for a big failure in the end. You know, now maybe I'm wrong, but I see a lot of people who live in the country whose families are still fairly close knit, and the boys and girls of my generation, the kids of my generation, I see a big difference than living in the cities. Yeah, some of these guys play games and things, but they're very well rounded. They don't sit there all day and do these things, and they go hunting, and they also have the value of living, you know, and helping their parents on a daily basis, where you know, they're interacting with their families and seeing their grandparents get older and they need help, and they're interacting, they're doing things to help their families. These are people I've seen in the country that are a little bit more well-rounded than kids in the city that we raised. They move away and they find the city life, they can make a lot of money, but they lose the values of everything that we have in the country, our homes. And so, you know, like I said, I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a very smart person in the world. I didn't make a lot of money. I had a learning disability myself, and maybe these thoughts come from seeing my own disabilities play out through the years, and you know, maybe that's why I feel the way I feel about a lot of things and say a lot of things that I say, you know. And maybe this is my out for things that I see that kind of don't add up all the way. And you can't say anything to this generation because they get upset, pissed off at you. They got to dominate the conversation. You know, if you have a conversation with them, they've got to dominate it about, you know, political correctness and political rightness and political this and political that. Well, listen, this is a conversation I'm having with you about sewer drains and water drains, and I'm not turning it into a scientific conversation. I'm not trying to turn it into anything. It's what I've seen in the past of construction, and it's a part of my knowledge that I know that I'm trying to share. I may be incorrect in today's times, but I'm not trying to dominate the conversation that I am correct. I'm not trying to dominate, this is the correct way to say this. I'm not trying to dominate, this is the right answer. I'm not trying to dominate the whole conversation. A lot of these kids today, you can't even get a word in edgewise. You got to wait for them to come up for air or get tired of talking just to have a say or have a comment. That's probably what I should say. It's just a lot of values lost in this country. And that's what I see is going on all around the world. This is not the first killing that I believe is related to computer games. And, you know, these companies make a lot of money off of these games. And I can tell you right now, the government is sure as hell probably getting kickbacks and payoffs to shut up and let these companies roll in a lot of money on these games and just keep pumping them out there. They're making money. Why would they want to stop it? You know, if you're filthy rich, you need to have more money. If you make a little bit of money, you got to make more money. And if you make more money, you got to make more on top of that. It's a never-ending rat race of who's got the most, you know. Well, I don't claim to have the most, but what I do have is I have a peaceful, normal life that I like. And I think that a lot of those values are not being instilled in our grandchildren or our children today. And I'm not just talking out my ass, because I've gone home to a lot of places in the country where I live, and kids are raised way different than kids are raised in the cities with these games and stuff. So that's my point of view. Like it or leave it. You can leave a comment, you can subscribe to this channel. I have a lot of different views on a lot of different things. I like music a lot, and there's always a lot of different things on my channel. So throw a thumbs up at me, a like, leave a comment if you want. If you can't be cordial about it, then don't leave a comment. It's that simple. I won't listen to you anyway. So thanks for stopping by my channel, and I hope you have a wonderful day.